If your Pinterest account isn't growing, try these Pinterest strategies that are working right now. Hey, my name is Sarah, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about some of the current Pinterest strategies that are working on Pinterest right now. If you are struggling to grow your account, you should really try incorporating some of these strategies into your Pinterest strategy, and it will help grow your account. And the first thing that you should do is pin fresh content. I talk a lot about this strategy, so I won't talk about it for too long, but it needs to be mentioned because of how important that it actually is. If you don't know what a fresh pin is, it is essentially a new URL with a fresh Pinterest pin design. These are what will do best on Pinterest because Pinterest is looking for fresh content to be put onto the site. However, you can also consider a fresh pin to be an old URL but a new design. A new URL and a new design is what is going to do the best, but you can still get away with an old URL and a new design. That will still do well. And not only that, but you want to consistently be putting out fresh content for your site. I recommend pinning between 2 and 5 pins a day to get the best results. But you can really pin as much as you can reasonably and consistently pin in a day. There is no real magic number for the best amount of pins that you can do. If you want to learn more about this strategy, check out this video right here. The second strategy that is working on Pinterest right now is to be growing your followers. Pinterest followers matter a lot more than they used to on Pinterest. Since Pinterest is trying to become more like a social media site, your followers are going to start mattering more and more. So from my understanding of the way that Pinterest works is Pinterest will push out your pins to your followers first. And if they do well with your followers by getting clicks and saves, they will then start pushing out your pins to a bigger audience. And the better that your pin does with that audience, the more your pin is going to get pushed out to more people. Meaning that the more followers that you have, the more your pin is going to get pushed out initially, and the more that your pin will eventually get pushed out to people outside of your following. So this is why followers are starting to matter so much on Pinterest. Which probably makes you wonder, how can you then grow your followers? Idea pins is one way that you can start to grow your following on Pinterest. I'm still doing testing with this since this is a relatively new feature, and idea pins, or as they used to be known, story pins, they have their good and bad traits. If you've not heard of idea pins, they're essentially just like every other story on every other social media platform. They are a short clip or an animated pin that shows up at the top of the user's feed. And while idea pins aren't great for getting clicks to your site because as of right now you can't link your site to an idea pin, they do, however, help you get more followers, which, as I've heard from other bloggers, helps them raise their overall clicks. As I said, this is still a new feature to me, so I am still testing it out, but I have talked to other bloggers who are using this feature and they say that it works great for growing your following, which in turn has grown their clicks because based off of the last point, we know that Pinterest will push out your pins to your followers first, and the more followers you have, the more clicks you have the potential to get. Another strategy I talk about all the time is manually pinning your Pinterest pins. If you are using a third-party site like Tailwind, there is a chance that your Pinterest stats aren't as high as they could be. There isn't technically a difference between using Tailwind or directly pinning your pins onto Pinterest, which is what I mean when I say manually pinning, but you can really tell the difference. Pinterest really seems to push out pins that were natively pinned onto the platform. And while Pinterest says that this isn't the case, if you look at every other social media site, this is how that it is. If you post from a third-party site, your posts are going to get less reach. So it would make sense that this is going to be the same for Pinterest. The next tip I have for you is to pin trending topics. You want to adjust your pinning so that you are pinning what is trending currently on Pinterest. Now, every niche is going to be different with this one, but one thing that won't be different is going to be the holiday season. Pinterest is always popping around the holidays. So make sure you start pinning holiday content and make sure you are doing it as early as possible. People can start thinking about Christmas as early as September. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you look at this graph from Pinterest Trends, you'll see that the term Christmas starts getting searched up really around September 28th or the end of September, beginning of October. Which, by the way, if you want to link to this tool, I will link it down below in the description because this is a really useful tool for following the trends on Pinterest. And you don't have to put out any new content either if you don't want to. It would be good to put out new content for the holidays, but you can't just tweak your pin titles to match whatever the holiday season is. So if you have 64 ideas for morning routine, routines. Around September, beginning of October, try switching the title to 64 morning routine ideas to try this winter. It can link to the exact same post, but people can be more likely to click on it if it is related to the season. If this video was helpful to you, make sure to like if you liked and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. And if you want more help on Pinterest, check out one of these two videos here. And I'll see you next week. Bye!